everybody. Welcome to our Search the Scriptures Bible study. We are in 1 Samuel on study number 14, which covers 1 Samuel chapter number 16. It is a beautiful snowy day here in Indiana today. About 4 inches of snow on the ground. Just beautiful right before Christmas. Hope you're having a great day wherever you're at, whatever time of year you may be listening to this. We are on study 14 for Samuel 16, and we're going to answer 3 different sets of questions today. First of all, how is true obedience illustrated in Samuel's behavior? And what can you learn from his example? Secondly, what great truth was brought home to Samuel at Bethlehem? And consider how this truth is emphasized in Jesus' teaching. Third, here men twice sent to fetch David. Why? When he comes into sight, what do we learn about him? Make a list of his characteristics and what was the chief evidence that God had chosen him and rejected Saul. So keep track of what David looked like and his appearance, and just keep track of Samuel and his obedience to the Lord in this chapter. 1 Samuel chapter 16, beginning with the first verse. The Lord said to Samuel, "How long will you mourn for Saul, since I've rejected him as king over Israel? Fill your horn with oil and be on your way. I'm sending you to Jesse of Bethlehem. I've chosen one of his sons to be king." But Samuel said, "How can I go? If Saul hears about it, he'll kill me." The Lord said, "Take a heifer with you and say, 'I've come to sacrifice to the Lord.' Invite Jesse to the sacrifice, and I will show you what to do. You're to anoint for me the one that I indicate." And Samuel did what the Lord said. When he arrived at Bethlehem, the elders of the town trembled when they met him. They asked, "Do you come in peace?" Samuel replied, "Yes, in peace. I have come to sacrifice to the Lord. Consecrate yourselves and come to the sacrifice with me." Then he consecrated Jesse and his sons and invited them to the sacrifice. And when they arrived, Samuel said to Saul Eliab, and thought, "Surely the Lord's anointed stands here before the Lord." But the Lord said to Samuel, "Do not consider his appearance or his height, for I have rejected him. The Lord does not look at the things that people look at. People look at the outward appearance, but the Lord looks at the heart." Then Jesse called Abinadab and had him pass in front of Samuel. But Samuel said, "The Lord has not chosen this one either." Jesse then had Shammah pass by Samuel. Samuel said, "Nor has the Lord chosen this one." And Jesse had 7 of his sons pass before Samuel, but Samuel said to him, "The Lord has not chosen these." So he asked Jesse, "Are these all the sons you have?" "They're still the youngest," Jesse answered. "He's tending the sheep." Samuel said, "Send for him. We will not sit down until he arrives." So he sent for him and had him brought in, and he was glowing with health and had a fine appearance and handsome features. Then the Lord said, "Rise and anoint him. This is the one." So Samuel took the horn of oil and anointed him in the presence of his brothers. And from that day on, the Spirit of the Lord came powerfully upon David. Samuel then went to Ramah. Now the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul, and an evil spirit from the Lord tormented him. And Saul's attendants said to him, "See, an evil spirit from the Lord is tormenting you. Let our Lord command his servants here to search for someone who can play the lyre. And he will play when the evil spirit from God comes on you, and you will feel better." So Saul said to his attendants, "Find someone who plays well and bring him to me." One of his servants answered, "I've seen a son of Jesse of Bethlehem who knows how to play the lyre. He is a brave man and a warrior. He speaks well and is a fine-looking man, and the Lord is with him." Then Saul sent messengers to Jesse and said, "Send me your son David, who is with the sheep." So Jesse took a donkey loaded with bread, a skin of wine, and a young goat, and sent them with his son David to Saul. David came to Saul and entered his service, and Saul liked him very much, and David became one of his armor-bearers. Then Saul sent word to Jesse, saying, "Allow David to remain in my service, for I am pleased with him." And whenever the Spirit from God came on Saul, David would take up his lyre and play, and then relief would come to Saul, and he would feel better, and the evil spirit would leave him. Question 1, how is true obedience illustrated in Samuel's behavior, and what can you learn from this example? Well, in chapter 16 of Samuel's being asked to do several things. Number 1, to stop mourning. He's also asked to anoint a new king, even though Saul was still very much alive. He's also asked to overlook what mankind would see as natural leadership qualities as he searches then for this new king. God is looking for people that are willing to think outside of the box. That's what he was asking Samuel to do, to think outside of the box whenever he tells them to. Second question, what great truth was brought home to Samuel at Bethlehem? And consider how this truth is emphasized in Jesus' teaching. Samuel learned that what mankind thinks is not really all that important. He learned that the ways of man and the ways of God are at times completely different from one another. God takes the foolish things and the things that are not to nullify the things that are. Third question, here men 2 different times go and fetch David. Why? And when he comes into sight, what do we learn about him? Make a list of his characteristics and what was the chief evidence that God had chosen him and rejected Saul. Well, the first time men were sent to find David was to anoint him as king. The second time was to find someone to play the harp to soothe the spirit of evil that plagued Saul's mind. So from this passage, we learn the opposite of really what many of us have been taught throughout the years in Sunday school. We're told not that he was some little kid, but that he was a ruddy, handsome, and brave man, a warrior, and that the Spirit of the Lord was upon him. We're told that he was Saul's armor bearer, which is quite contrary to the stories of the tiny little boy that was completely lost when in Saul's armor, trying it on for size before going out and defeating Goliath. The fact that God had rejected Saul and chosen David is clearly evident in chapter 16, 13 and 14th verses, where we're told, first of all, the Spirit of the Lord came upon David in power, and we're immediately told right after that the Spirit of the Lord had departed from Saul. The important thing in David's life wasn't how handsome he was, how brave he was, how much of a warrior he was. The important thing about David was that the Spirit of the Lord was upon him. I hope you're sensing the Spirit of the Lord in your life today. I hope you're having a great day. May God bless the rest of your day.